So what's everybody up to? Hopefully, too, I should be able to see any questions. If you have any Q&A, you can ask any questions about UAPs, crash retrievals, the phenomenon in general, my life, old vet symposium, Shane, why I do this type of stuff, any of that thing. So let me get on YouTube real quick. Just bear with me. We're still actually getting all this stuff together. So it's all yours, Mariah. I'm out.
And the live stream stops here.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, go on to another one. We'll get to that one later. That was kind of with yesterday's.
Okay.
So let me actually catch everybody up who's probably just new to joining us. So my name's Shane Frakes, Old Vet Symposium. I'm a combat vet. I served 3 tours between 2001 2010. Um, After that, I got pretty sick. Ended up kind of a homeless addict on the streets with PTSD. Got care by Wounded Warrior Project 2017. 2020, stuck in the pandemic in Yakima Valley, and I start recording and seeing UAPs. Still do all the time, everywhere I go with people. I can't explain it. So from that, I started my first podcast. I think it was last October, and then multiple podcasts, and then a reporter for the Roswell Daily Record. And now I'm an anomalist reporter. Uh, just do this on my own. Got this podcast, and this topic is super important to me. I dump everything into it because the one thing I want is answers. I don't need anything else out of this. So I appreciate you guys coming and joining us. Hey, how do we get that damn thing off?
Oh,
You don't see it?
no, I see it.
Are you able to bring comments up? Are there people here? Probably.
I don't see any comments, so either no one's
Let me
commenting
mute my
or
mic and check. And
bear with us, guys. We're still trying to get the nuts and bolts of this thing down.
keep them occupied. You tell them a story, something. Actually, Mariah, tell them, kind of introduce yourself for me.
My name is Mariah. I met Shane through UFO Twitter and have just been kind of working with him, trying to get this YouTube stuff going and the live streams and just trying to help him with his channel, with his brand. But I live in New Mexico. I see a lot of UAP activity, and I don't know. I'm just very interested in the subject and very interested in helping Shane get off the ground with this stuff.
Yeah, she's been very helpful as well. And so is Ryan, who's not here right now. He's actually doing the live tweet, or I guess tweeting and stuff like that. Tomorrow we should be up on YouTube live as well. We had to kind of set all this stuff up, and that's what we've been working on right now. So I'm actually trying to figure out where this is going.
Should be on
No,
Twitter and Facebook.
okay, cool. Just making sure. All right. So go ahead and throw another one up there. We'll get talking on this. I can't see any questions, so I have no clue where to even go to see this stuff. Our StreamYard's misbehaving, so we're trying to figure that out. Maybe. I do not know. Yeah, well, I'll just keep looking like a fool. So if you have questions, I guess just throw them somewhere. Hopefully we eventually find these dang things. I blame let's blame Ryan. Hey, wait, here. Here we go. Let's get in here. So, oh, I don't want you to hear the feedback on that shit. So here's what we got. Now I'm in here. All right, cool. So at least we got some questions going on. Okay, that's a TIS. I can't remember what that stands for. Um, so basically, this is at a joint base. Is it Charleston in South Carolina? I do believe that's what it is. So basically, this is a unit, in my opinion, that you would use to haul NHI bodies from someplace, right? Or anything really toxic. But included with this, there should be a picture of a C-17. You want to throw that up? You know what a C-17 is?
An
It's the one,
airplane?
yeah, the back end of an
And
airplane.
yeah.
All right, throw that up real quick, please. Can't find it. It's all right. You'll see the tail fin on it. That's probably my fault. Probably threw it around somewhere. It might be in the second batch or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, there's a C-17 that James Fox was looking for from the Virginia incident, right? That hauled its supposed body. I believe these are what hauled the body and the craft, the unit. There's a special forces unit at the same base. It's a C-17 crew, and their sole purpose is extraction, right? Clandestine extraction. So, that's I reached out to him, let him know that's where I think that went. Now, what do you got next, Mariah? Do you have any of those? I might be able to bring them up better. I should have done better at this. There we go. Right there.
Okay.
So that's the same thing. It's going to be on. It was on his. Wait, is that his photo? I don't even know if that's his photo. Maybe, maybe not. But point is, joint base. I said it right. Charleston. That's what it is. South Carolina. So that's one of them there. And I know too. I didn't put it up in here because I didn't have a chance. We're still trying to figure out all the communication stuff here. That the crash retrieval program is set up such that there's like, I guess, five of the different ones. So you got materials, comms, weapons. Um, I'm going to spit the other ones out. I should have had those written down here. We'll get back to those too. So move on to another photo. Actually, don't. Let's go to. Actually, you can pick any of the other ones except for the consciousness ones. I don't want to go to those right now.
Give me a sec.
Just stand by, guys. We're getting the hang of this crap.
So, is it safe to assume that for every crash we've heard of, that there's been a crash retrieval?
Well, it's safe to assume this. We're being lied to about all kinds of stuff. First, let's. There's a reason you guys haven't heard about this stuff. Well, for multiple reasons. Pockets are being lined. You can look right now, and maybe I shouldn't say any names. Look in the government right now. Who's being the most vocal and fighting this the most? Right now, follow that money trail, which is pretty easy. You can go online and do it. See where it leads. See if it goes to any aerospace, defense, Lockheed, any of those, right? Any of the NGOs that may be involved. Now, BlackRock is a pretty big company, and I keep mentioning their names. I'm telling you now, the corruption runs deep. BlackRock can literally pay a politician off legally. They have so many companies they have a part of, and each company can do X amount, right? So this umbrella corruption corp, what's his name? Fitch? Weasel? I don't know. He's pretty much acquired this monstrous amount of, they call them the fourth branch of the government for a reason. Contractors. Now, you guys should be scared. When I say contractors, imagine a company that has no checks and balances, which is what they are because they're civilian, running rampant and having this technology, being able to do what they want when they want, pretty much invisible to things. Ask yourself what crashed in Alaska. I mean, what was shot down in Alaska? Because we have to be able to remember, differentiate between ours, which, hey, that's good timing, synchronicity. Something that might be one of ours. Is this the cart? Can't read that. Can you bring that? I guess you can't read that. Cartesian driver is what that one is, I think.
The
So
Cartesian?
this is
Yeah, I think so.
supposedly one of ours. If you're listening, I guess you can't see it. And what it does is it superheats some ions. And I'm not going to go all in that because I'd probably sound like an idiot without having it in front of me. The basic thing is the gist is this. If you go to my Twitter, Old Vet Symposium, I kind of posted a thread about it with these in here and a video of what it looked like. It would look like a cloud, right? And I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos where objects that look like so. And I get there's that foam and stuff out there, but open your eyes is what I'm saying. So we got these guys. We got Lockheed Martin. They have, I'm pretty sure, goddamn crafted their own as well. You have companies such as Bechtel, companies, what else? Bechtel, I bet you have bodies. Raytheon, all these companies, different companies, they probably connected to some of them connected to the same people. So do you see how that corruption runs deep? Look at BlackRock. This is all I ask you to do. Start following BlackRock's different companies, the aerospace defense. You need to call your congressman, reps. Hell, they may be part of the problem, actually. You can look, it's all right there. I get it. I'm Shane and no one wants to listen to me. But I promise you, it's all right there. You can follow the trail and see why they're fighting the way they're fighting about we don't have nothing, this and that. David hasn't it hasn't lied yet. You can self vet this information. Whistleblower, military. He's not going to make this stuff up. He's going to end up catching charges for that. It's going to mess his career up, all this other stuff, retirement. He filed an IG complaint. Can't lie on that. That IG complaint was taken X amount, but he also briefed people in his duties. So by briefing people in his duties, and I'm not going to go into who, I imagine he briefed some important people that could back his shit up if needed to be. And I'll say that they are important people and we should be focusing on what he said. So, crash retrieval program is not only does it exist, NGOs have vehicles, which would be a non governmental organization. There exists a Majestic 12 type program that's been upgraded that's so clandestine and off the books most government heads don't even know about it. Now, what I mean by that is there's a shadow war. You've been getting little pieces of information. Listen and believe me, little pieces of information from all kinds of people about this. Now, that exists in two different ways, in my opinion. You got the contractors who are kind of going back and forth with, which you got Indonesia and you also got Peru as evidence, right? The harassment, the Department of Energy looking at the DOE. So these individuals are talking about us craft, right? Part of that. And here's why I say that. How would you fund a program that's so clandestine and so off the books, no one in your government can know? Probably Iran Contra style, right? Guns, weapons. What happened in that incident Stephen Greer was at the presentation Greer brought up with about Indonesia, and then you talk about in Peru, they were actually there in Peru. Jonathan, I don't want to say his last name, I'll mess that up anyway. They were in Peru for a drug interdiction operation, right? And one of the things that gives it away that it was ours, pay attention, guys, this is a big one. If you want to know if it's our craft or their craft, a SAM missile took this down. Okay. So, and I imagine they probably have some kind of a go-to throw. I don't know what's going. They have far advanced tech in that craft to make you feel specific ways as well. I imagine. So I get that. I know Jonathan said he felt a certain way. And I know MK Ultra has had that ability since the 70s, right? To put thoughts in your head, make you feel specific ways. Now, I think those two are part of uh, ours that we took down. Which one is this? Chronology of a crash retrieval, which is some of the stuff I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
we have those. Now, I also think that if you go back to the photos, actually, there's some photos of a couple different craft. Do you see
Okay.
what they look? You know what I'm talking
I
about?
No, I didn't see any of those pictures. These all the
It's in
photos
the
you sent
second
me are
batch.
like
You see the second batch?
documents. Okay, let me see. Give me a second.
All right, no problem. So if you go and look at I guess you'd say, in my opinion too, what's really weird is Rendlesham reminds me a lot with all the different descriptions of, well, of a crash retrieval. I know that it was already there and all this other stuff, but some of the lights that are described, it's also described in the Hill 166 case, which is a Russia case, and there was a crash there. Now, here's the thing about both of those. They both involve something with DNA. And being close to the craft does something to it. Now, Burroughs specifically can't get his medical records. I wrote an article about me and Toby wrote an article about that at the Roswell Daily Record, right? Because it's still secret. DNA is very important in this. We got to remember, just think and keep that in the back of your mind. Now, you can also go to Kecksburg and look at Kecksburg, the type of craft and what it looks like. Now, the witnesses say the military was just there instantly. Now, there's only a couple ways you can do that. You're either waiting for them and you know where they're going to be, or you're baiting them and taking them down, which I think we bait and take down a specific type of NHI, non human intelligence. So the shadow war, there's actually some bad stuff here. And we've had the ability and been fighting this shadow war. So there's multiple instances that people think of as a crash retrieval that was us taking them down. So you can kind of I believe let's see, I already covered what well shit. I already covered the Kecksburg. I'm gonna also say, there we go. So there's Rendlesham. Now there's a picture of Rendlesham. This is the monument, right? Now, Kecksburg looks similar, but I'll remember all the DNA things. Now, go to the other photos. The other photos are crazy because China, they talk about taking UAPs and stuff seriously. So, this is another reason America needs to take them seriously. So, go ahead and go to the other photos that look similar to that. That's the Rendlesham craft, the monument. You don't see them? Oh, they may not be downloaded yet.
Oh,
Put you
I
on
do.
the
Yeah,
spot.
just give me a sec.
You're all right. So, what I'm going to say is basically that monument looks identical to, they had some kind of a air show. And at the air show, they had some mock-ups. This looks a lot similar to that, right? So people are taking this seriously. Russia, we had crashes. Now picture this clandestine MJ-12 upgrade, whatever you want to call it, so off the books. We already said how they're probably taking care of, you know, funding the whole thing. Special forces involved. I know. I actually talked to someone, and it just clicked in my head too. A friend of mine. Shout out to. I'm not going to say his name. Actually, good idea. Uh, and he had someone that was part of a son of a gun. Someone that was part of not Blackwater, Black Rock, a unit at Black Rock that he couldn't talk about, clandestine type. So, again, you find it, Mariah? No? Anyway, we'll keep moving anyway. So, all I was trying to get to was other countries are taking this seriously. We have upgraded MJ-12 that's actually fighting a shadow war, and we actually have a weapon designed. There's a designed weapon that's needed to take them down. So, what I mean by that, there we go. That's the China one. So have a look at the China one if you're watching. This is one of their craft they designed. It looks awful similar to the monument, right? But if you go back to some of these different instances, they talk about this ball of plasma or something like that. You can go watch the was it the Magi incident in Brazil 2020? That
Yeah.
too, look that up. I know people want to say it's debunked. Listen, people, everything, there's a reason disinformation exists, and it's not because, you know, the shit that's out there is not real. So there's so much disinformation. If it's a big event, I'd go back and relook into this stuff. Now I know it's going to run into conspiracy territory, but this is the biggest conspiracy in human history. Our government has been hiding this shit for 90 years. And just wait till you see what this leads to. Because the nuts and bolts of this is nothing. I'm telling you right now, nothing. It's all about the woo. You're knowing all kinds of, I'm telling you, the woo. So, Mariah, do you got any questions about anything I talked about? We still got to figure out how in the heck we get the ability to see people chatting.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's going to be possible from Twitter, but once we get it on the YouTube, it'll be better. But so what technology do you think have that we have that's come from these crash retrievals?
What's that?
What technology do we have that's come from crash retrievals?
Well, we have jet propulsion engines. Actually, the one who posted a really good tweet on Twitter. I don't know what his actual freaking handle is, right? But he had some of the schematics and things like that. And I actually posted on there, and I would do better about just reciting it all. How we discovered that unit, like the crash craft. The reason David could bring this forward, people like, oh, it's not real. If it was real, they wouldn't let him talk about it. Hold up. The government is still the government. They got to follow laws too. So if these craft, anytime there's craft that we took as a war trophy, that stuff's fair game. So think about that. And there's quite a few of those. Now, if the governments of those countries worked with us, well, that's a different story. But if they didn't belong to us, such as Italy, right? And then with the whole Nazi bell, what do you think Paperclip was about? So people don't like to hear Nazis and UFOs, but it's a real deal. We brought a lot of them over, and I know I had backtrack. I better backtrack. So we had a legacy source, and he had specifically said he was asked to design a weapon to take these things down. I'm not going to tell you what kind of weapon. I'm going to give that away yet, but it's an energy weapon, basically, right? So, and then later, same things from a couple other people. So they did. They ended up developing one, and they do. They take it down, and we know from Lou Elizondo. I mean, he straight up. told us that we could track them. We got this ability to bait. We can bait them. Now, how do we do that? That doesn't matter. The point is, we do, and we know the bad ones from the good ones. We know that other countries have these things. We also know that NGOs have these things. The country's run amok with it right now. So I don't even know where to begin with some of that. Right. So what else do you want? Corso talks about fiber optics. You can go watch all these interviews. Eyes on Cinema is a great place on YouTube to be watching witness interviews and things like that because it has a lot of abduction ones, which are real, things like that. So, did I answer your question, Mariah? No.
A little bit.
So, yeah, jet propulsion was from Italy. I'll say that. And also, Nordics crashed in Italy. And then you got the stanky imps, the toxic imps in Virginia.
Now, Ryan had posted something too he had sent me something through Twitter. He's wondering if you know anything about the 1972 Kira UFO incident. Kera.
I
Kira.
didn't get the chance to read on it, Ryan. Way to put me on the spot. You're fired, dude.
That was me. He sent it a little while ago.
Oh, you're both fired, man. I want you. Can you read it to me?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it actually. Maybe I do, and
Okay.
I just don't know the name.
Um. All right. It says, although it's a little known case in the West, an incident in the Kira region of Kochi City in Japan in the early 70s is not only one of the most debated in the country, but a case that would leave behind physical evidence. So,
What was the physical evidence? A box?
I'm scanning through right now. Let's see.
And I really wish I could see if people had questions because they probably
Yeah, I
don't.
know. It says several photographs were taken of the craft, as well as a number of adults who corroborate that the strange device was at least for some time in the possession of the Japanese government. It was a
Yeah,
dull silver hat like craft.
I don't know anything about that. Way to
Okay.
embarrass me.
I don't either.
You guys, way to embarrass me.
Well, you told us to
Anyway,
look stuff up. You looked it up.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to read it, man. I've been busy today, just doing some stuff. I was preparing for trip, so been just kind of trying to figure some things out and getting ready to work on a couple articles as well. I won't say their name yet. So anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Here's the cool part. Came in on the tail end of the nuts and bolts. Whatever I've been interacting with wanted me involved in some way. But here I am. I would rather talk about the woo, the things that I'm new to, remote viewing, psi, all these other things. But precog, these are things that I do believe downloads. What do you think a download is?
Like an information download being sent to you from
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yes.
That kind of stuff is cool.
So rolling pneumatic device, I think if I remember right, just basically putting to that section of your brain, they wouldn't need to communicate in any binary, any crazy way. They literally just drop something in your brain at the right spot that allows you to know all of it. You wouldn't be unfamiliar or any of that. Instant knowledge bank right there, whatever it is they want you to know. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, that's essentially what a download is. So it's why people have experiences, and all of a sudden I can't explain any
Is
of
that
it, and
like
it
the
doesn't.
same type of thing as a screen memory, or is that different?
No. So
Okay.
no, screen memory, you're gonna see. Do you mean by like you're able to just keep remembering things that you see? A pneumatic
I
would
don't
be
know, but
this.
I've heard
Okay,
the
picture
term
this. Let's
screen
say when you
memories.
learn how to do something, Mariah, when
Yeah.
you go to do something, it's stored somewhere where you learn all of it, right? From the
Right.
start to the finish. Okay. What they do is whenever they communicate with you, they just put the whole thing there. So there's no, wait, what did he say? I don't know that word. What is this? There's none of that mistranslation.
You have everything you need.
because again, if they're that far advanced, and it's a spectrum thing with all of this stuff, right? It wouldn't take them anything to do such a thing. So, and it would only make sense. So we always look for the hoaxes or stuff like, oh, they're communicating in binary code or this or that or the other. Now, there, I won't say all circles are fake, but there was one. I don't want to talk about that yet. I'm jumping. But my point being, that's what a download is, Mariah. So it's going to be something put in your head so that you're familiar with everything from learning about it to, I guess, skilling, just to being able to completely understand the topic at hand without anything else done, just like
You
that.
just know it.
That's a download. So, oops. I hope that answers somebody's questions, which was yours, huh? Or mine, telling you about it. So, another thing that's pretty cool that I'm under the, so let's look at it this way: time. Sorry if my son's being loud. Time is the flow of time is a construct our brains as humans has developed. So, from the start to the finish, right? All of time is happening all at once. What if there's a way that you could figure out and hack that so that you're able to access other points in time? If it's only a matter of perception, the human brain saying it goes like this, frame by frame, but something in fifth dimension, and also not just fifth dimension, because again, if there's a hack, what would that be like, Mariah? You
Um,
follow me? You remember the mirrors yesterday?
yeah.
Okay. So those mirrors, if you want to put that other picture up, the one that I told you to take down, the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
consciousness one.
Yeah, give me a sec.
So these were the oh, I mess the name up every time. Kazirev mirrors. And what these allow is access to that, I call it our electric rail that we don't even know we're attached to, that everything's attached to. The Akashic record, whatever you want to call it. And Mariah will find that again. And this is actually the book if you guys want to go look it up. And we need to get better about putting the damn sources in the YouTube stuff, right? So still can't find it.
No, I'm looking.
Okay, no biggie. But there it is. Get a
Okay.
chance. I think this is on Scribd, or you could find a brief overview, or AJ and Hecklefish and the Y Files on YouTube. Badass on this. They got all the sources listed too. It's kind of really good refresher. So check it out because this is where we'll venture further into some of this stuff later on. This, and I want to go over the human problem by itself in depth. Probably do that maybe tomorrow. If you guys like Woo, you're gonna love this channel. We got nuts and bolts too. Well, we're gonna go into the Woo hard. Going to be fun because, again, this has been one of the biggest conspiracies in human history. So imagine what they're hiding. I know some of it. I can't imagine what else is going to be coming out. There's a reason they kill over it, and it wasn't because they had craft. So I think we'll cut it right now. We'll just end it today at 30 minutes.
Okay, that works.
This is good. I'll get better at organizing it. We did better this time, Mariah. Way to keep it going.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate the help. And Ryan, thank you for helping. And if there's people with questions, we're trying to figure out how to see it. We'll get to those eventually. Maybe we'll go live again tonight once. Oh, no, we can't. It'll be tomorrow because we don't have any access to YouTube. We're trying to figure out how to set this up. So just bear with us. My name's Shane, Old Vet Symposium. If you get a chance, check out Wounded Warrior. Donate. They saved my life. UAP Med, one of the reasons I do that. I'm still struggling to have someone to talk to about my experience. And I know there's people out there, but I promise you, the reason I'm going woo, even the people that will allow it will think I'm crazy sometimes. So I know better than to talk about it in some spaces. So UAP Med, check it out. Some of my greatest people there are working on that project. I mean, it's a niche, but I promise you, there's a lot of people out there that need medical or mental health professionals because of the phenomenon. There's no one that really exists or a clearinghouse of information for them to understand, doctors and them to take it seriously. So make sure you check that out as well. And then I've got a bunch of different other channels, the podcasts, and me get back to here shortly, but you can always check those out as well. But most of my stuff will be here. I'll be going on the road here shortly, and we'll be doing some cool things, actually, several places. So I got some projects coming up and some really cool things, and I'm excited about, but I can't really talk about most of them, except the Wounded Warrior one I will talk about. When I go, I'm going to be doing my daily vlog while I'm there. It's a trauma place. Why not let you guys see my trauma, right? So, funny thing, because that trauma, I, I know that's why I have had this experience in Yakima Valley. So, that's important. We'll talk about that later too. That trauma, that emotional experience that humans go through, we'll talk about that later. So thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, retweet, do any of that stuff, right? My name's Shane. I'm an experiencer. I'm a combat vet, Wounded Warrior alumni. I'm only here, get some answers. So keep joining us. I'll talk to you later.